Hello, I'm Diksha Singh for Calkind Media and welcome to another edition of Executive Corner Expert Talks. In this edition, I'll be shining a light on UG. The best way to do that is to sit down with CEO at UG, Mr. Rafael Guper. Rafael, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to share my thoughts and views around employee well-being, remote and hybrid working. Let's go. Ready to go.
Hello, Rafael. We are glad to have you with us today. Innovation is transforming how we work and how we perceive work. So, according to you, how does using better technology for work and work-related tasks help improve employees' overall efficiency?
That's a great question and a great way to start, actually. So, first of all, addressing workplace issues is the biggest priority amongst the industry today, right? It's a crowded market with so many different trends. There are HR tech solutions, mindfulness tools, performance management technologies, fitness enablers, learning management systems, digital face-to-face coaching tools, you name it, right? Like there are therapy platforms and even gamified insurtech companies, right? Like so many different technologies out there. And companies are seeking to tackle the different problems within the workplace from so many distinct angles and through diverse technologies. But what we've been seeing here at UG is that even though there are so many technologies being created and offered to companies, B2B solutions are just struggling to drive interest of employees. Employee adoption rates of wellness platforms really are very, very low. On average, only 2.5% of a company's employee base end up using a solution provided to them by their employer. The thing is that data is the most powerful and game changer element of this equation. Because by better understanding your workplace, your employees' needs and wants, how they perceive your company culture, etc., decision makers within companies can truly drive impacts in the business. But how do you collect valuable data and actionable insights if your employees aren't engaged, right? Like that's the main question here. So we have to remember that in spite of employers usually being the ones paying for these solutions, there's another side to this coin. Without the interest and engagement of the employees, the actual people that work in that organization, technology is just being developed for the sake of it, right? So in my point of view, for technology to truly drive and deliver its value and drive impact in the workplace, they need to be developed with the employee at heart, really. Like it makes no sense to develop something that real people will actually engage with. And plus employees need to be bought into the idea that with their engagement, they will actively be helping in the building of a happier and healthier workplace and in the shaping of the company culture. So myself and my co-founder, Ludmila, have been for the past many years going into work every day dissatisfied with life. And that's exactly what brought us to develop UGI, to make this solution come to life, to really make day-to-day better through little wins every day. And we've been doing that by truly understanding the pains of our end user. So everything we do at UGI is done with our end user close at heart. We're really pulling the strings around behavioral sciences and behavioral economics to understand what makes human beings tick. So we also went ahead and validated our methodology with experiments driven by neuroscientists from the University of Oxford to really ensure that what we're doing delivers the highest of efficacy.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And how do you see workplace well-being being addressed by companies today?
That's a great question because I think this is exactly at the core of what we're doing. At the end of the day, what really differentiates UGI is the positioning of our company and the mission of UGI, because at the end of the day, the industry as a whole is framing well-being around the 1 in 6 employees who are already struggling with mental health issues such as anxiety, depression, and burnout. And thankfully, companies are already taking care of that, right? And for those that aren't, you're just late to the game, right? Come on, like you should have been moving in that direction by now. But what are organizations doing for the other 5 in 6 who are day in, day out, feeling dissatisfied with their life and work, or at least with one or more areas of their life or of their work, right? We see that most organizations are overly focused in addressing the mental health issue within the workplace, but aren't doing enough to ensure people don't struggle with their mental health issue in the first place. So They're offering 3 days away from work, yoga in the office, meditation sessions, nice sofas and resting areas, mindfulness apps, and even face-to-face therapy and coaching. But there is no active support on the behalf of the organization for those dissatisfied with one or more areas of their life. They could be unhappy with their relationships at home, or struggling to save money, or just not feeling at their healthiest best, for example, but they're not necessarily suffering from a severe condition to actually go ahead and act on it. And so they continue day after day feeling there's something missing. The problem is that when people are not in their prime in life, they won't perform at their peak at work, and this leads to lower productivity, right? We all know how that works. We're human beings. We know that when we're not functioning at the highest of our performance in life, or at least in a way in which we feel good to be at work, we end up not performing well at work, right? So with the hope that a new work situation will fix our lives, employees leave their jobs, and this leads to higher turnover in organizations. So this is seriously impacting the financial performance of businesses all around the world. When a professional leaves their job, for example, employers need to spend on average 1.5 to 2 times their salary to fully replace them. And things get way more costly from director level up. Like it can achieve 213% based on sources of the Bureau of Labor. So on the other hand, employers that are more satisfied with their lives, that are consequentially better in living their lives, are consequentially better at their job as well, which leads to higher productivity. And so they end up staying at their jobs for longer periods, which leads to lower turnover. So it shouldn't then be a surprise that 85% of employees are not engaged at work, right? This low productivity impacts business performance, which equates to a cost of $7 trillion in lost productivity globally, and 100 billion pounds in the UK alone. This is like outrageous in my point of view. So fueled by the global pandemic, what we've been seeing is that for the first time since 2015, life satisfaction rates have been falling drastically in the UK. Obviously, this has also to do with Brexit, but COVID-19 has been a big accelerator of this life satisfaction dropping like in drastic levels. And hybrid work is here to stay, right? It's here to change how the relationship between life and work is dealt with, which is another factor added to this equation, right? So not only is it in the best interest of companies to help their employees be at their best, but also it's their responsibility, in my point of view, to make sure that people come into work feeling great every day. Obviously, in developed countries like the UK, governments can provide slightly higher quality of life, but things are even worse in developing countries, right? Like I come from Brazil, for example, and the government there won't be doing much to help people with their day-to-day lives. So if not the big organizations to improve life satisfaction, then who, right? And this is exactly where UJI comes in my point of view.
So on that note, please explain how UJI delivers well-being in the workplace.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is exactly where I wanted to get to, because at the end of the day, I really believe that from now on, we're truly going to be making an impact, not only in the UK, but hopefully across the world, to really help people with their satisfaction in life and at work. But essentially, UJI is an HR tech B2B2C SaaS solution. It's basically a very easy plug and play solution for employee well-being. So we offer an immersive neuroscience-backed coaching experience through fun and rewarding games, activities, and challenges. We help those that are day in, day out, dissatisfied with one or more areas of life and work, to start winning in life and at work. So not necessarily for employees that are suffering from depression, anxiety, or burnout, because there are loads of tools and loads of sorts of ways in which the companies are already addressing severe mental health. But for the majority of people who are just okay, you know, like that, people like you and me that are going to work every day, feeling slightly dissatisfied with their lives, which ultimately could become mentally ill. So UJI helps employees identify what's missing in life and at work to make their days more satisfying, through little wins every day, because we believe that if you're going straight to aiming at those big wins, you're going to give up throughout the journey. So we help people achieve little wins every day, which will keep them on track to achieve those big ones further down the line. So through this fun and rewarding experience, employees choose the areas that most matter to them and complete UG sessions that are delivered through gamified self-assessments, video and audio lessons, serious games, and real-life tasks. And along their journey, they receive trials, gifts, discounts, and experience that fuel their progress towards their goals. So these are actual contextual real-life rewards. So for example, if they need to save more money, they get a discounted annual subscription from a savings platform, for example. If they want to nurture relationships with their family, they get a free meal box to cook with their loved ones on a phone-free Friday night. So as you can see, it's never like just a random benefit being thrown at you. It's actually something that's placed in your personal growth journey to help boost you to actually keep your progress in moving forward and achieve your goals at the end of the day. And off the back of employees' engagement, employers have access to UG's real-time insights portal to filter 100% anonymized and aggregated data and behavioral insights. So by better understanding employees' needs and wants, employers continue to improve the workplace. They can retain talent with that, they reduce turnover, and they can even enjoy financial results all the way down to the bottom line. Because moreover, the data also enables employers to bring teams together through challenges that are also aligned to the areas that are more important to employees. So as I mentioned, everything at UG is like strictly tied to the things that are missing in the employees' lives, right? So for example, for employees looking to improve their networking skills, they're matched with a work colleague and invited to meet up for a free coffee around the corner. Or if they want to practice more physical activities, the employer can launch the Around the Globe Challenge, which they'll be incentivizing people to go for a run. That those will be adding up the miles ran to compete against other companies. It creates a leaderboard within the company so that people can go in a healthy sort of competition. And this is basically what we're doing here, really. Like UG's value add has been seamlessly reeled into the experience to deliver both benefits to employees and employers. So UG is really leveraging the power of behavioral science here to make life and work more satisfying, which in turn guarantees higher performance of companies individually and industry as a whole.
How is hybrid and remote working being handled by companies today? And how does UG plan to make things differently?
That's a great question. That's a great question because I think everyone is actually talking about that. And hybrid working is here to stay, really, right? It's here to change how the relationship between life and work is dealt with on a daily basis. Whatever sort of research we see out there, any survey or any poll held with employees, you see that actually no one wants to fully go back to the office 5 days a week, but they also don't want to be at home for the rest of their lives, right? So finding that balance is crucial, not only for employees, but for employers too. And with that balance comes the need to keep employees bought into the same company vision and culture. But it's just a lot harder to do that when you're not on the same physical environment, right? In the beginning of lockdown, for example, we actually were taking on virtual happy hours and team get-togethers and even in online pub quizzes, which were being held on Friday nights. But we very quickly became bored of that and companies began to notice this wasn't enough. So what we started to see were tech startups identifying those problems of remote working and coming up with solutions that specifically address the need for virtual collaboration. And what we've been seeing really is that all of these solutions are super focused specifically in work collaboration. But is really work just work? Like that's what's on my mind, because in my opinion, life goes way beyond work. Obviously, work is a big part of life, but we have to understand that there's a lot more to life than work. So it's a good indicative of this, that an interesting statistic has shown that 58% of employees in the UK prioritize happiness over salary. So why are solutions just bringing people together around topics related to work? Like, that's my main question, really. Like, Uji understands that people actually go beyond work. And to be honest, most people kind of have the same objectives in life, right? Like, we all want to be physically and mentally healthy. We want to save money to travel or to buy a house. We want to build a family. We want to actually make more money. So why not create communities at work so employees can together collaborate and achieve their goals with the help of others? So Uji here is really unleashing the power of togetherness to help everyone feel happier and healthier in life and at work. And we do this by taking every employee in their own personal growth journey that blends in with others through little wins every day. And this happens in the virtual and the real world. So as you can see, there's a very close connection here with the future of the metaverse and Web 3.0. And this is exactly where Uji could be going in to become the first employee well-being platform of the metaverse. So through games, real-life quests, social challenges, and other virtual and real-world features, we take employers and employees together on a journey to make the workplace a better place to be. And this is obviously something that we are already thinking in terms of how we do this within this immersive 360 degrees metaverse, because it truly will only be better if out there in real life people feel that's also a great place to be. The workplace has to be a better place to be.
That brings me to what are the benefits for employers in utilizing a solution like Uji?
That's a great question. Thanks again for that. But essentially, I really want to touch on first the benefits for employees, because as I mentioned, I think if we continue to focus only on the benefits for employers, we'll continue to create technology that no one really uses. As I mentioned, employee adoption rates within the B2B environment is of only 2.5%, and that's ridiculous in my point of view. Companies are actually paying for tools and for platforms that no one really uses it. And that's why first I want to touch on the benefits for employees and then show how that blends into the benefits for employers. So first, talking about employees, through Uji, they're taking on this fun and rewarding experience, as I mentioned, to improve life and work. And throughout that personal growth journey, employees get trials, gifts, discounts, and experiences that boost their progress contextually towards their goals in the areas that most matter to them. And moreover, they get to explore social challenges with other employees from their workplace and beyond, because together we're more able to drive behavioral change in our lives. A healthy competition helps you not procrastinate and helps you want to be better in a daily basis. So that's why we're actually focusing on bringing people together in the virtual and the real world. And lastly, off the back of each employee's engagement, they're actively helping to build a happier and healthier workplace, because their employer will have a better sense of the sentiment within their company. And now back to your question, what's in it for employers, right? Well, first of all, the simple fact that they're contributing to the day-to-day quality of life and work of their employees, that should be enough. Obviously, there's a lot more to it. But with that, we can see that firstly, as mentioned, the employees' engagement with Uji helps decision makers within the company have access to our real-time insights portal that helps the employer have access to valuable and actionable data, which is obviously always anonymized and aggregated. So we're not only compliant to GDPR, we're obviously trying to lead the way in which data is actually treated within this industry. So it's not only delivering value to the employer, but also to the employee. We want to make very clear that the data here is never being used against the employee, and it's actually only being used for their benefit. So studies that we've been seeing show that when people actually see a benefit in exchange for their data, they're happy to open it up if they actually see that that's not going to be used in a way that's detrimental for their lives. So as I mentioned, the company have access to our real-time insights portal, and they have at the end of the day, valuable and actionable data, anonymized and aggregated behavioral insights to better understand employees' needs and wants, to shape company culture, to drive community building in the workplace, and to deliver against the overall requirements of that specific workplace. And with that, they're able to better retain talent, to increase engagement, to improve retention, improve turnover, and drive financial results all the way down to the bottom line. So as you can see here, it's actually an experience that brings employees and employers together so that we all can benefit from a better day-to-day life in the workplace.
Thank you so much for such an insightful session. Looking forward to reconnecting with you soon, Mr. Guper.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Diksha. It's been my pleasure. And yes, I'm very much looking forward to reconnecting sometime soon.
That's Rafael Guper, CEO at UG, and if you missed any part of the chat, you can catch the full interview on our YouTube channel, Calkine Media. So make sure to subscribe. I'm Diksha Singh, reminding you to stay apprised and invest wise with Calkine.